process of preparing these videos, we spoke with families who are learning to live with a PPA diagnosis and what it means to them on a personal level. The individuals we spoke with were generous enough to share their experiences receiving a PPA diagnosis and how they have adapted to changes in their lives. We sincerely thank them for their vulnerability and willingness to help us with increasing awareness about PPA. These are some of the perspectives that they shared with us.
One of the common themes among those we spoke to was regarding receiving a diagnosis of PPA. While the experiences differed, all agreed that receiving a diagnosis could be a lengthy process due to waitlists to see doctors and other health professionals. The process of receiving a diagnosis often begins with close family or friends noticing signs or symptoms in the individual related to their ability to speak, ability to understand speech, or their behavior. Concerns around these signs and symptoms would lead to a visit with a family doctor for some testing, and then often a referral to a neurologist for further assessment and brain scanning. Some symptoms can make it challenging to determine what is going on at first, which can delay the process of seeking out a diagnosis. For example, some people may associate challenges recalling words with simply getting older. Following the diagnosis, many families reported a lack of resources provided to them, such as information about what PPA is and what can be expected moving forward. It's important to advocate for yourself and for your loved one by asking healthcare professionals for resources on PPA. You might ask what supports are available in your area, or are there any PPA-specific support groups available? Ask healthcare teams to follow up with any resources they find. Naturally, when answers and resources aren't provided, we often turn to online sources to search for information. Many of the individuals we spoke to had to seek out their own answers from the internet, which unfortunately added an already challenging period in their lives, as these sources often portrayed extreme cases or were used as a way for people to let out their frustrations about their experiences with PPA. Everyone's path to information about PPA may look a bit different, but it's important to be aware that there may be helpful sources online, as well as ones that may add unnecessary concern to your journey with PPA. You might ask your healthcare team if there are any internet sites that could provide accurate and helpful information about PPA.
One caregiver wished to highlight some misconceptions surrounding PPA. When their loved one was diagnosed, PPA was explained to them as being solely a language disorder, which was consistent with a lot of the information this caregiver was finding about PPA on the internet. However, this caregiver wished to share that PPA is much more than just a language disorder. It impacts all aspects of a person's life, as well as the lives of their loved ones. There is also a cognitive component to PPA that this caregiver feels is not adequately highlighted by the current information that is available. While PPA significantly impacts the life of the individual and their loved ones, many caregivers highlighted the importance of not letting the condition consume them. Despite living with PPA, many emphasized their focus on living in the here and now. PPA support groups were also mentioned by some of the people we spoke with. They highlighted that these groups helped them to feel less alone and supported them as they navigate their journey with PPA. Every support group might look a bit different, but some aspects of a support group could include communication strategy training, counseling for the individual with PPA and their caregiver, and sharing of personal experiences. Another family discussed the importance of incorporating meaningful activities into the daily lives of individuals with PPA that don't necessarily require speech or language. For some, this involved going for walks on the beach and looking for treasures in the sand, working on cars as a part-time hobby, walking to the local gym, always having a puzzle on the go, or turning on music in the evenings to dance. These activities added quality of life, purpose, and contribution to their lives while reducing and eliminating pressure to speak. With all of this in mind, families noted the importance of treating your loved ones with PPA with patience and kindness, and remembering that every day is different, so treat yourself with patience and kindness as well. For some, this involved reaching out to family or friends for help with tasks like getting groceries or driving to appointments. For others, this involved accessing emotional support. Ultimately, processing life with PPA looks different for everyone.
Some strategies reported by caregivers that were beneficial for facilitating communication with their loved one with PPA included having patience, pausing and waiting for them to speak or find their words, confirming and summarizing the conversation, and keywording. These strategies are discussed in more detail in our video titled Communication Strategies.